Well, I guess eventually finally decided to stop by.
The idea for a sequel to Wii Sports had been around ever since the original's financial and somewhat critical success. However, that idea soon turned into a reality with the advent of the Wii Motion Plus accessory. This little nugget popped onto the bottom of any Wii remote and added a gyroscope to its functionality, allowing it to do what Nintendo had originally advertised the original Wii remote to be able to do. That gyroscope allowed for the creation of some of the Wii's best games like Red Steel 2, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and, of course, its launch title, Wii Sports Resort.
So without further ado, let's plug this bad boy in and see what it has to offer.
Yeah, that's still a pretty good opening. Jumping straight into the game, we have 12 sports to choose from this time, each with individual modes within the sports. This is a vast improvement over the original's 5 sports, so let's get started with reviewing each one individually. Swordplay is sort of this game's equivalent to Wii Sports Boxing, with your objective to simply knock your opponent off the top of the stage. Sure, you could block and stuff, but I never found that to be any fun, even if it would lead to an advantage. There are other modes within this sport, like Speed Slice and Showdown, but I always just kept coming back to the original.
I've been waiting for this. Okay, now!
Wakeboarding's up next, and you basically just go back and forth shaking your Wii Remote when you hit a wave to get some massive airtime. It's a pretty fun game on its own, but it gets extra points because this announcer is just going above and beyond. Just listen to this guy.
Whoa! There it is! Wow! Nice jump! Yeah! Great air! Whoa! Excellent! Yeah! Incredible!
Up next is Frisbee Golf, and it's basically just a vastly improved version of the original Wii Sports' golf, but with frisbees. That gyroscope really does go a long way in making the sport feel more realistic. It's also a lot more fun than the original's poor excuse for golf anyways.
Great birdie!
Archery's up next, and I remember getting a lot of enjoyment out of this one years back. It controls surprisingly well if you hold the controls right, and it's also pretty fun to go after the secret fruit targets on every stage, even if I could never hit them to save my life. Basketball is divided into 2 subcategories, pickup game and 3-point contest. Starting up with pickup game, this has got to be the jankiest basketball game of all time. It's not bad or anything, it just controls very awkwardly, and every time the ball is stolen or is shot and missed or is made, the play restarts from the top of the key every single time. The game's fine, I guess, but it's not winning any awards anytime soon. Three-point contest, on the other hand, is a lot more straightforward and, non-coincidentally, a lot better. The controls work surprisingly okay for what they are, and it's also pretty fun to go on a big streak, nailing one shot after the next. Basketball also earns the obligatory Banger Ending Music Award. Table tennis is up next, and I never really played this one that much, but it's surprisingly good for what it is. It's definitely a lot better than Wii Play's poor excuse for ping pong, that's for sure, where you just move the controller back and forth. In this one, you actually have to swing to hit the ball, and dare I say it, it is much better than the original Wii Sports' tennis. Golf and bowling are almost exactly the same as the original, just with some new stuff added, I guess. Golf controls a little bit better, sure, but it's not that impressive. Power Cruising's up next, and this is another one I didn't really play that much when I was younger. It controls fine, I guess, but the controls are a bit stiff and awkward for my liking. And that is all I'm willing to say about this game, because yet again, I did not play this one when I was younger, and it's one of the least deep games in this entire package. Same can sort of be said for canoeing, but I can at least kind of see the appeal with this one. With Power Cruising, it was just like, go through hoops, I guess, but this one's an actual race that you have to win. Next up is cycling, and I can't be the only one that thinks it's kind of weird that you cycle with your arms, right? This sort of game appeared in Wii Fit Plus, and it felt a lot more at home there since you actually had a balance board and had to use your feet. Here it just feels kinda awkward. It's also one of the longer games here, but not for a very good reason. It just kind of goes on and on and on without any end. Lastly, we arrive at air sports, a very broad category that has 3 subcategories: skydiving, dogfight, and island flyover. And I'm just going to say right now, I'm not covering dogfight because I have no friends to test it with, but from what I remember from my youth, it was a pretty fun time. Skydiving is super lame, it's just really boring. You just kind of go down and link up with people so you can get your picture taken, and that's it. It is the most shallow game in the collection. Now, Island Flyover, on the other hand, gives you free roam of the entire island and your own little biplane, and you can fly around and visit various landmarks. It's a bit of a shame it's limited to only 5 minutes, but hey, that's one of the reasons why this was expanded into its full game on the 3DS called Pilot Wings Resort.
So that's Wii Sports Resort. It's a vast improvement over the original in pretty much every way possible. But you may be asking, what about the original Wii Sports enhanced port / re-release / remake, Wii Sports Club? Well, let's just say I won't be making any promises about this one.